Hello everyone, I'm Saili Himne and again I'm back with another video lecture for you. So before starting, if you haven't till now subscribed to our channel, that is Edufy India, please do subscribe it and also follow us on our WhatsApp and Telegram groups, the link of which is given in the description box of this video, and also in the description box you will get link for your free PDF notes. So please click on that link to avail your free PDF notes. So let's start. Again, of discussion will be a continuation of Plant Kingdom Part 4. Previously we had 3 lectures on this topic and today we will be discussing about our 4th and 5th group classified under this Plant Kingdom. So in the first lecture we have introduced to what is Plant Kingdom, then our first group, that is Thallophyta, under which we studied algae, then the second group was Bryophytes, third was Pteridophytes, and now today 4th is Gymnosperms and Angiosperms. So let's start. About gymnosperms, the word can be divided, the gymnosperm word can be divided into 2 parts. Gymnos means naked and sperma means seeds. So basically they are naked seeds. The gymnosperms are plants in which the ovules are not enclosed by an ovary wall and remain exposed both before and after fertilization. These are small groups of seed plants which are represented by only 900 living species. Unlike our other groups like Bryophytes and Pteridophytes, in gymnosperms the male and the female gametes do not have an independent free living existence. They remain within the sporangia retained on the sporophytes. Now they are found mostly in colder parts of northern hemisphere where they form extensive forests. A number of gymnosperms are also known as ornamental plants. Ornamental plants means plants that are grown for decorative purposes in gardens or as house plants, or just they are used as a sample to display. So that is gymnosperms are also used as a kind of ornamental plants. An example of it is ginkgo. And their morphology, gymnosperms include medium-sized trees or tall trees and herbs. The giant redwood tree is one of the forest tree up to 100 meters. Many of the gymnosperms live for more than 4,000 years, example of which is pine or redwood. Then the plant body is sporophyte and is divided into root, stem and leaves. Taproots are present for proper anchorage to heavy plant. Anchorage means to hold. So in this case, taproots are present for proper anchorage or holding to heavy plant. Roots in some genera have fungal association in the form of mycorrhiza, while in some others like cycas, small specialized roots called coralloid roots are associated with N2-fixing or nitrogen-fixing cyanobacteria such as Anabaena, nostoc, etc. The stems are branched or unbranched and the leaves may be simple or compound. So this was about their plant body. Now furthermore about their life cycle or reproduction, the gymnosperms are heterosporous. Means they produce 2 kinds of spores, that is haploid microspores and megaspores. So these 2 kinds of spores are produced within sporangia that are borne on sporophytes which are arranged spirally along an axis to form a compact structure called strobili or cones. So these strobili or cones bearing microsporophytes and microsporangia are called male strobili or microsporangiate. The microspores develop into a male gametophytic generation which is highly reduced and has only a limited number of cells. This reduced gametophyte is called a pollen grain. The development of pollen grains take place within the microsporangia. The cones bearing megasporophytes with ovules or megasporangia are called female strobili or macrosporangiate. The male or female cones or strobili may be born on the same tree, example of which it. Furthermore, the megaspore mother cell thus undergo mitotic division in 4 megaspores, out of which one is enclosed within the megasporangia and develops into a multicellular female gametophyte bearing 2 or more archegonia of female sex organs. The multicellular female gametophyte is also retained within megasporangium. And air current is required for transport of male gametes. The male gametes are carried to the archegonia, that is gamete in the ovule by means of a tube called pollen tube, and discharge are contents near the mouth of the archegonia. This is called siphonogamy. So this is about their fertilization. Following fertilization, zygote develops into an embryo, ovules into seeds. The seeds contain food-laden tissue called endosperm. It lies naked or exposed. Endosperm provides nutrition for growth of seedling at the time of seed germination or seed development. And examples are cycas, ginkgo, Iphedra, etc. So this was about gymnosperms, their important characteristics and about their reproduction. I have a difference between for you, that is between microsporophylla and megasporophylla. So microsporophylla, it bears microsporangia, and megasporophylla, it bears megasporangia. And then microsporophylla contains numerous spores, whereas megasporophylla contains only microspore with single function. Single function contains only single function microspore. And microspores are released or they are shaded, and megaspore are retained inside the megasporangium. Okay, so this table will help you to memorize this difference between microsporophylla and megasporophylla. Furthermore, we'll see some classification of gymnosperms. Also, further, gymnosperms are classified. So, three main classes. The first class under gymnosperm is Cycadopsida. That example is cycads. The next is Coniferopsida. Example is conifers.
Or also we can call Pinus.
And last is our third class, Nitopsida, under which example will be Netum. So picture of examples of this respective classes is mentioned on your screen.
Now this is the difference between male and female gametophytes of pteridophyte and gymnosperms. So these are main some features or differences between these two groups. So have a look at this table, and it will give you a view, means it will help you to memorize the differences between these two groups, especially there are male female gametophytes of these two groups, male and female gametophytes of this two group. Now adding further to this topic more.
Now again, these gymnosperms also have some economic importance.
For example, seeds of Pinus are used as
food after roasting. Then some other edible gymnosperms plant part are endosperm of ginkgo. Gymnosperms provide soft wood for construction of plywood and paper industry. The branches of gymnosperm trees are used as fuel food, and sawdust of conifers is used in making plastics. So this plant also has some medicinal properties. For example, Iphedrine, an antibiotic, is obtained from Iphedra. It is used for curing some respiratory problems, and also it is used in treatment or for curing asthma. Then Taxol is an anti-cancer drug obtained from Taxus. Taxus belongs to genus of coniferous trees or shrubs. So this was all about our gymnosperms. Now moving on to our next group, that is our last group of this plant kingdom, is angiosperms. Angiosperms are seed-bearing plants or flowering plants. Unlike gymnosperms, means not similar to gymnosperms, where the ovules are naked, in angiosperm, the sporophyll are organized into flowers and the seeds are produced inside fruits. There are about 250,000 species of angiosperms in the nature, and they evolved about 130 to 160 million years ago. Then angiosperms are found in wide range of habitats, from the land to up to 6,000 meter in Himalayas or Antarctica. Then dry hot deserts, cold deserts, they are also found in tropics, fresh water up to 60 degrees Celsius temperature, and underground or over other plants as parasites, saprophyte, etc. These plants are sporophytic in the form of herbs, shrubs, trees, climber, creepers, etc. The smallest angiosperm is water plant, Wolfie, and the tallest is Eucalyptus regnans. It's 100 meter and above. Primary root develops from radicle. It forms taproot system. In many angiosperms, roots develop from places other than radicle. These are adventitious roots. Stems develop from plumule. Leaves are simple or compound. The leaves bear axillary buds which can grow into stem branches. So this was about their plant body, habitat, and what kind of leaves this angiosperm have. Then about the vascular tissues, angiosperms have vessels in xylem, and phloem contains seed tubes and companion cells as compared to gymnosperms which do not have companion cells. Then their flowers are the reproductive structures formed by the union of one or both types of sporophytes, that is microsporophytes or stamens, and megasporophytes or carpels. So these are some of the popular examples of angiosperms. They are divided into two groups, that is monocots and dicots. So on the screen you can see the pictures of the respective plants which comes under monocots and dicots. So now here we will discuss about life cycle of an angiosperm with the help of this picture. So the red lines in this picture indicates haploid stages, and blue line indicates diploid stages. So first we will discuss about our male sex organs, that is microsporophytes. Stamens are considered as the male sex organs of a flower. Each stamen has two main parts, that is a slender filament with an anther at the tip. An anther contains 4 microsporangia, where microspore mother cells become differentiated to form 4 microspores. That is called as microspore tetrad because it has 4 microspores. Tetrad means 4, each developing into a pollen grain. Then the female sex organ or megasporophytes, carpel or pistil is called the female sex organ of the flower. Each carpel has 3 main parts, that is an ovary, style and stigma. A megaspore mother cell is differentiated in the nucellus and undergoes meiosis. Ultimately, only one of them is the functional megaspore, which gets enlarged, means it increases in size, which gets enlarged and forms the female gametophyte known as embryo sac. Ultimately, only one functional megaspore gets enlarged, that is, it's become greater or it extends in volume or size, and forms the female gametophyte known as embryo sac. Each cell of an embryo sac is haploid. Then the embryo sac, each embryo sac contains a 3-celled egg apparatus which consists of 1 egg cell and 2 synergids. Synergids are one of the 2 small short-lived nuclei lying near the egg in the mature embryo sac of a flowering plant. The synergids are the part of the egg apparatus and are thought to help the pollen nucleus reach the egg cell for fertilization. Then they have 3 antipodal cells at the opposite end. So this is how the structure of their embryo sac is. So this is what their embryo sac contains. Polar nucleus eventually fuses and forms diploid secondary nucleus. Then pollination occurs. Pollination means pollen grains after dispersal from the anthers are carried out by various ways such as wind, water or by other agencies to the stigma of the pistil. Now during fertilization and development of a seed, each pollen grain germinates on the stigma, forming a pollen tube that carries 2 male gametes to the embryo sac, growing through the tissues of stigma and style. One of the male gamete fuses with the egg cell to form a zygote, that is syngamy, and the other male gamete fuses with the diploid secondary nucleus to produce the triploid primary endosperm nucleus. Primary endosperm nucleus is also called in a short form as PEN, P-E-N, that is primary endosperm nucleus, P-E-N, PEN. Because of the involvement of the 2 events, it is known as double fertilization because 2 events are occurring. After fertilization, synergids and antipodal cells degenerate. The zygote develops into embryo and the primary endosperm nucleus develops into an endosperm. The ovule gradually transforms into a seed and the ovary becomes the fruit. A fruit is actually a ripened ovary. They not only protect the seed but also help in their dispersal. And then after that, this is how our young sporophyte is produced. So this was about life cycle or reproduction of angiosperm. It was about life cycle of angiosperms. This is how these plants are developed in nature. Now first, let's get some classification of angiosperms. George Bentham and Joseph Dalton Hooker presented the system of classification of angiosperms. It was published in Genera Plantarum in 1862 to 1863, and it appeared in 3 volumes. This system of classification is used by most of the well-known biologists or botanists, and on the basis of the number of cotyledons, angiosperms are classified into 2 groups, that is monocotyledons or monocots, and dicotyledons, that is dicots. So with this help of this picture, you will get a more detailed view and an imaginative view of the difference between these 2 groups. So first let's discuss about these 2 groups. Monocots, they contain, as you can see in your picture, monocots, they contain 1 cotyledon, and dicots, they contain 2 cotyledons. That is the reason they are called as monocots, because of 1 cotyledon, and dicots because of 2 cotyledons. Then talking about this was about their embryos. Then talking about their leaf venation, leaves have parallel venation in monocots, as you can see, and in dicots, leaves are usually net-like, as you can see in your picture. Then about their stems, vascular bundles are scattered, that is, they are usually complexly arranged in monocots, and in dicots, vascular bundles are arranged in rings. Furthermore, about their roots, fibrous root system is present in monocots, and taproot system is present in dicots. And also in monocots, all parts in monocots are usually in multiples of 3, and in dicots they are usually in multiples of 4 or 5. So this was about some major difference between these 2 groups, or the criteria or the basis used for the classification of angiosperms into these 2 groups. Furthermore, some differences adding to it, in monocots, root has pith in its center, and in dicots, root is generally devoid of pith. And secondary growth is absent in roots with some exception in monocots.
And in dicots, secondary growth occurs in roots.
So this was all about classification of angiosperms. This is the image, actual image of monocot plant and dicot plant. I have kept it in comparison so that you will get a good idea about it. And also this image represents what is the appearance of dicot plants and appearance of monocot plants. So here are some common examples of these 2 groups. For monocots, a very common example is of ginger, and for dicots, and the example of dicot is our sunflower plant. More talking about economic importance of this angiosperms, the angiosperms are major source of food, fibers, spices, and beverages. They also provide some valuable timber and medicines. They also add beauty to our environment as well. So this was all about our today's lecture, in which we discussed gymnosperms and angiosperms and some important characteristics of these groups, then their classifications, differences, their reproduction or their life cycle. This was our last group classified under plant kingdom. In the upcoming lectures, we will be studying about alteration of generation, under which we will see plant life cycles. So for more updates, please do subscribe to our channel, that is Edufy India, and for more such video lectures and your free PDF notes or doubt sections quizzes, please follow us on our WhatsApp and Telegram channels, the link of which is given in the description box, and also in the description box you will get link to our free PDF notes. So please do avail your study material. And thank you for your attention.